We got our good brother, a new breed. All right, and hey, welcome, Anu.
Hey, what's going on with you? Thanks for having me on. Especially with the climate that the world's currently in, I think it's pretty important to at least get a couple people on their prepping game. So hopefully I could help. Please feel free to ask questions and Kurimeo will throw them to me, and maybe I can answer them for you. We'll see how it goes. I'll try my best.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, yeah, so prepping. What is prepping? We're gonna, I guess, for anybody that doesn't know what it is, or think it's just something on TV or something silly, or whether it's important or not, whether you believe in it or not. It's just a conversation we're having today for those who are interested, and for those who might take it serious in these serious times. Yeah. So I guess we should have some doomsday music, I guess, instead of classical. But this kind of starts it off a little relaxed because it might get ugly, the conversation. So, get cozy, guys. We ain't in no rush, really. We'll see how it goes. We're live. We're gonna freestyle it. So again, you guys know a new breed has you know helps me a lot with the research. Helps me a lot when it came to learning how to navigate through the genealogical records and stuff and make sense out of everything I was finding. So, good brother in Catawba, representing the Eastern Siouan people, the Catawba,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
and his Irish and everything else he got in him. and
Yeah.
yeah, so we got a good crowd, I guess. I just wanted to make sure we had a good crowd before we start. And I think somebody already had a question. Let me see. Millennials was asking, how long can you store seeds, and what is the best method available to a schmuck like me?
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Actually, most seed companies are going to tell you it's going to be 3 to 5 years. That's not necessarily true. Generally, seeds can be held almost indefinitely. As long as you store them in a cool, dry place where they're not going to get sunbeaten, they're not going to get damp. You don't have to worry about excess water hitting them and spoiling them, ruining them. You, it's been known for seeds to actually be planted 10, 15 years down the line. Now they will lose potency. So maybe you'll have out of 100 seeds, you could have 100 within the first year, up to 3 years, but then all of a sudden it may change to 90 the fourth year, 80 the fifth year, and slowly it goes down. But that's just only what they've said. Realistically, I've seen them be planted after 10 years and still get like a 90 to 95% yield. So cool, dry place, and you can store them indefinitely.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, just want to make sure we answered all the questions before I got full. Now, so tell us, what is prepping? What is this all about, and how did you get into it?
Well, actually, I got into prepping a while ago. When I originally started prepping, of course, was back Y2K. If people are old enough, they'll remember Y2K. When the clock struck 12, everything was supposed to shut down, the whole 9 yards. It was a fun time, but I didn't really get serious. Like I had light preps back then, but I got serious about prepping right around 2005. So around 2005, we had a couple heavy winter storms, almost like blizzards up here, and it took the power out in the area, and the power was going out for 2 weeks. So I had to learn to adapt, switch over. We had an open fireplace at the time, so I could heat certain parts of the house. I had to learn how to reheat, stock on firewood, what it was like to live with just that silence, nothing but you, your brain, and you being able to survive at that point in time. Which I kept myself in the situation because I wanted to test and see how it worked out for me. But yeah, it just became a way of life after that because I realized, man, our electricity, gas, water, none of that's guaranteed for tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen. We just got an alert on our phones. I'll actually read it to you up here. Let me go on my phone real quick. Because of the winter weather up here, we got an alert and it states, give
Talking
me
about right now,
one.
right?
Yeah, yeah, we actually have a alert now. It says crews are monitoring incoming severe weather that may cause power outages. We are prepared and encourage you to do the same. So if you can't tell me that's a warning, then let's be honest here. They're letting us know that power may go out, may or may not. I've never received an update like that as long as I've been here. So who knows? It could be like what they did in Texas, cutting lights on and off, et cetera, et cetera. Not going too much get into the conspiracy theories, but
Yeah, no worries. But one thing is conspiracy, other thing is facts. So whatever. Some people take it as conspiracy, and other people take it as facts. Um, so I was kind of like a Y2K or two. Like I wasn't scared or anything. I was like, all right, let's see what happens. I was ready. Back then at that time, I was ready to let it pop off. I was on some other stuff back then, but you know,
bro, listen, bro, I'm still ready for it to pop off. I watched that
yeah,
movie Leave the World Behind, and I was like, this is great.
yeah. So so prepping, it's just something new.
Nah,
Like
nah, man. Nah, prepping's been going on since before. You can find points of prepping in the Bible. Um, our grandparents, great grandparents were preppers. Is just with the way that we currently have food and how accessible it is with grocery stores and everything else. I believe it's kind of dulled our senses. But people have been prepping since the beginning of time. They prepared for the seasons. They didn't have proper refrigeration. They didn't have ways to hold their yield, so they had to figure out ways to do it and conserve and save foods for the next season that was coming up. So yeah, prepping's nothing new. You know, ain't nothing new under the sun. You know how it goes.
so when you say Bible, like, you give us an example.
Yeah, if you look at Noah, Noah, he was a prepper. He went off faith of the Most High. Um, there's too many spots. Actually, I could look at some verses. Hold on.
Yes, well, no, Noah's definitely. I guess you can consider definitely a prepper, right? He prepped
Yep.
for a major flood, and saved humanity, huh?
Yeah. Then you look at Genesis 41. That'll be 46 through 49. And Joseph went out from the presence of the Pharaoh and went through all land of Egypt. During the 7 plentiful years, the earth produced abundantly, and he gathered up all the food of these 7 years which occurred in the land of Egypt and put the food in the cities.
Mm,
Joseph prepped.
there you go.
So I could go through and show you 20, 30 different people who sat there and they really prepped when it came to, being from a biblical context or just um, knowing, looking out for and gathering up what you're going to need. Well, look at you. You're out there. You get your fruits, your vegetables, but canning, doing stuff like that, dude. That's all prepping right there, man.
Yeah,
Regardless of what scale it is, you out there doing it yourself.
yeah. So like, yeah, even like people think, I'm gonna just rely on my faith and hope for the best, and I mean that's a good philosophy, I guess, positive uh perspective. But it doesn't, like the title of the video, it doesn't hurt to be prepared. Like, you just gave some great examples. Even biblical people prepared, right? Even Joseph stored corn for Pharaoh, and because of that, they were able to eat during the drought years. So this is not nothing new. Um, I think we're in pretty interesting times. Everybody's been talking about it. Prepping's been popular now. It's on TV and everything. And some people may see it as entertainment, and like, oh, these people are wasting their money, wasting their time. You have your house, like, you have fully solar panels and everything on your house, right? Like,
Yeah, I currently have a 9.6 kilowatt system, 36 solar panels on top of my roof.
okay,
Backup power generators. I've got portable generators. I figure it's better to get caught with it than caught without it. Being able to produce enough electricity I'll produce enough electricity for the whole block. So 9.6 kilowatts. We don't remotely use that.
all right. So you got, how many chickens you got?
Currently, right now, I got 15, but it's the dead of winter. I'm probably gonna
Yeah,
grab another 15, man. I got to get up
And
there. You have to
and
take a breath to go.
on average, right? Be like how many eggs you get daily?
Oh
About
man,
15,
spring,
20,
summer,
or
and fall. Spring, summer, and fall. My chickens lay every day. And wintertime, if I keep a light on, that it basically acts like normal light. I can get, on average, the chickens that I bought, they're the breed normally lays about 320 eggs a year. So I studied the breeds of chickens, which chickens lay the most eggs versus which chickens lay the least amount of eggs, which ones are more sustainable, which ones are less susceptible to viruses, and and I got laying birds, and then I also raise meat birds too.
okay, all right. So when it comes to food and stuff, you pretty much let's say like right now in a winter situation, you got your chickens and you can't really grow. What do you what do you advise in your type of climate right now in winter? Like this is important because a lot of people think, well, I'll just grow and I could just eat vegetables all year. Can you talk about that? What do you think about people who think they could just survive a shit hit the fan situation?
Yeah.
What do you think
Uh,
will really happen?
well, that's a common misconception. That's something I do want to get into. A common misconception is people are going to just be able to grow vegetables and be able to eat them during the course of the entire winter. Most people don't know how to preserve vegetables. That's one of the things you really have to do is learn how to preserve. So we have to look at the scenarios. Now, if you don't have electricity, you don't have heat, you don't have vegetation. It's going to be that simple. You can't grow indoors, um, and that's just the truth about it. The vast majority of people don't know that even in the wintertime, they're going to have to resort to meat. Sorry for anybody who's a vegan, vegetarian, etc., etc. I do apologize. No, they can eat beans and rice, and there are foods that are highly sustainable. But as far as in a long term winter situation, you want to put yourself in a caloric surplus, having the ability to eat more calories than what you need. Because, of course, working in the winter, you burn more. Also, most people don't understand you actually dehydrate quicker. So your water intake in the winter is going to be more. So, like I said, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. As soon as that first frost hits, those vegetables are gone. So if you
Yeah.
don't pick them, and if you can them, that's different. If you can them and preserve, and even greens, you can freeze greens. But if you don't have power, good luck. You get a warm day, it's bad news.
So okay, somebody say, yeah, you need a lot of chicken feed, right? That would be a lot of chicken feed. How much you think for a year you need? Like, what would you do?
My chicken feed, depending. Okay, my chickens on average, it depends on how you grow. Now, you could go buy chicken feed, which I do, especially in the wintertime to sustain. Chickens generally in the warm climates are self-sustaining creatures. Most people, I'm not going to say most, but a lot of people don't realize that chickens will feed themselves. They have no issues being free range, going through bugs, eating whatever they can find, eating grass. Chickens are survivors. You know, they are pretty much, and they're good at what they do. They can find food sources, bugs, kick around, scratch. They eat different types of seeds that are dropped. Also, with a mix of the feed, I like to grow just certain vegetables, leafy green vegetables, leftovers. You can chop them up. You can throw them out with the chickens. Chickens will pretty much eat anything um, that is consistent with their diet. Also, there's a method that you can grow flies, and when you grow these flies,
The larva.
that kind
Yeah.
of yeah, you can grow flies. You can grow maggots, different things to feed them. So you can feed the larvae to these. You can feed the larvae to chickens, and you'll be fine from there.
Yeah. So that's the thing I'm trying to set up. So I was trying to get these special larvae so I can feed my chickens, so I don't have to buy the the a lot of that stuff they put a lot of soy in it. So I'm trying to avoid just giving them soy and the same stuff. So like larvae is a good protein and letting them roam free. That's one way to like feed your. If you can do it yourself, you can grow the larvae. Very simple. There's ways on it. There's videos on YouTube on how to do it. I just got to get it going. I got to get a good amount of larvae. I just don't and get it started. But Let me see. Somebody said something about dehydrating. That's a good method.
Yes,
What,
yeah,
what do you think about
dehydrating
that?
works.
So what is
Uh,
can you
de-
explain that? Let me show up.
oh, no problem. Yeah, dehydration is really good, especially with your fruits, your vegetables.
Yeah.
You can dehydrate just about anything. Now, there's good parts and bad parts about dehydration.
So
I
what
will
is
let you know.
what is the point of this though? Like, so why would we
Long-term
dehydrate?
food storage. Once you once you dehydrate something, you pull the moisture out of it. As you pour the moisture out, you're going to learn that it's not going to mold, it's not going to rot, it's not going to do anything because most of mold, rot, and moisture. Most of mold and rot is caused by an abundance of moisture. Once you draw that out, you can store for years with dehydrated. You can also do a freeze dried food.
Okay.
Now, always be sure to keep an abundance of water. And the only reason I say that is because with dehydrated food, it's great to eat regularly, but rehydrating is something that has to be done too. Hold on, got to plug up my laptop. 1 second.
No worries. Hey, welcome, welcome. We just talking about prepping. It doesn't hurt to be prepared, to be ready, just in case. All right, gonna try to talk on several things. All right. I'm just looking at the chat as well. Welcome to everybody. Uh, Shout out to Wanagi. Wanagi, what's up, Wanagi? Uh, and everybody else in the chat. Oh, Andrea, how you doing, everybody?
We're
Israelite,
good one,
Matt
Nagi.
Preacher, Matt Preacher's here. Yeah, we got a lot of good people. Millennials. Yeah, Jerome. Okay, Dalton. Yep. Frank Rich. Yep. Suzanne.
Yeah, I was
Welcome.
actually able to get
Welcome.
my charger, so we're good.
Okay, good, good. Hey, welcome, welcome. So, a lot of people do this for hobbies because I see a lot of people do this. So there's like machines you can buy to help you do that. How would you do this without a machine?
They actually have stackables. What you can get is outside of the machines that dehydrate, they have, if you look at they have something set like the left one, the NutriChef.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically you sit it out in the sun and it pulls the moisture and releases the moisture from the top and dehydrates it for you. It's a little bit longer of a process, but it still works the same. We do a lot of jerky like that. So if you don't want to dehydrate and actually use a dehydrator, you can go ahead and dehydrate. As far as the electric version, you can dehydrate in just a stackable one. It works the same. It takes a
Okay.
little longer now. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but
So that's one
yeah, they're
thing
pretty.
people don't. The reason I'm asking is because that's one thing people don't think about is, all right, you got all these machines and stuff. Most of them run off electricity. What if you don't have electricity, right?
Yeah, yeah. People
So,
take a lot of the stuff we have for granted.
for example, I got oh, that's not it.
Oh, type in solar generator.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
All right, so I got this one right here. This is a basic one, it's like a 500 watts one, and then
Hmm.
there's like more powerful ones, and these are pretty good. This company EcoFlow, I got one of these. Um, Mine's like 1500 watts, 1300 watts, and
Yeah,
it
you
does.
got the one that's 1500 watt hours.
Yeah. So right now I just use it for my Mac. In case the power goes out, my Mac doesn't just shut off. I have it connected to my. It's always connected to that, and it's always on. But it's actually a good alternative. Uh, Again, it's solar. So if you have machines, you can actually plug your machines to this, charge them. You can do that with the sun. All right. So is that something that you would do? Like, is that your like? What would you do with no electricity? What is the? But you have electricity, right? Because you have solar panels.
Yeah, I can switch off the grid, but for people who don't have that, the solar generators are one of the best things you can get. Now you have to understand the solar generator. The reason why I say understanding it is understand. Don't think you're going to get a 300 or a 600 and run your entire house. It's not going to happen. So what I do try to tell people is figure out your wattage needs for the base things you're going to need. You're not going to be running an air conditioner. You're not going to be running high wattage things that are going to be pulling off something like a 100 or a 200. Now, if you want something basic to maybe charge your phone, charge your laptop, whatever you need to charge in a power outage, you know, something like a 100, 200 is fine. but there's a mathematic equation to figure out how to get that, how to get what you're going to get. So, say for instance, if you have something that's a 300 watt hour and your phone is running 30 watts, or we'll go TV because a phone, a phone that charges up and stops. So if you have a 300 watt hour um, power generator and you have a TV that's pulling 30 watts, you'll be able to run it for 10 hours, of course, before you need another charge. So you always take the amount of watt hours, divide it by the watts you're using, and you'll get the time that you'll be able to use
Okay.
it. Okay, I'm looking. It says uh, Juana Grand. For a house, it kind of depends. If you're going to run the entire house, you're going to want a bigger one because you're going to be running in kilowatt hours. So a kilowatt is 1,000 watts. So basically, if you got 5,000 watts, you got 5 kilowatts. Um, if you're running a refrigerator, kicks on about 400 watts, drops down when it gets to its coldest point. I think once it gets to its coldest point, most of them will drop down to like 40. So you can run one. I ran a deep freezer off a small generator for like 14 hours, and that was a 600. Because at peak it'll get up to 390 watts. Then when it actually gets cold and it kicks over, it doesn't run very high, 40, 50 watts. So I've ran them for a long time off of those, 12, 13 hours.
Okay. Now, that might help you with electricity and stuff, and having some access to be able to charge maybe some batteries and things like that, that some power tools and things like that that you might be able to use, because you can get
Hmm.
battery power tools, like a battery operated chainsaw, things like that. That way you could constantly be charging it. Like honestly, like I have one of these bad boys, and they do a lot of good for me. I use it for a lot of things, and I'm out in the yard working or charging. Like when anytime there was an outage, I connect the fridge to it. The fridge only takes 70 watts, and I got a brand new nice fridge, and it's really not taking no more energy. And this is still giving me up to 1,500 watts. So I still got more. I can connect so many other things, right? And I can have it charging during the day with some solar panels and just leave it charged all night. I don't need the sun all night because it charges fully and it lasts pretty good. These are just alternatives. I know people will be like, oh, I'm not doing that. But now, this may give you electricity. But let's say right now, how cold it is how does it feel? Give us the temperature and the wind chill right now.
Temperature right now out my way. Actually, let me look. I'll tell you. Hold on. The temperature right now is. It says it's 27. Feels like 10.
Oh wow.
But nah, it's colder than that with the wind chill. With the wind chill, it's
Oh no.
getting to.
Oh no, we're looking at it. It says below 3. Below.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So,
So now you don't got the power grids out and everything. How do you heat up the house?
oh yeah, I got a wood burning stove. I got a wood burning stove, and it also burns the wood gas, so it does a secondary burn. And
Okay.
I swear by those things. I swear by them. There are different ways to hook them up to use for
Yeah.
heat.
Yep. So
So yeah.
so if it could be 10 degrees outside, like right now, feeling like below 0, how hot can you get your house with a stove like this?
Oh man, the upstairs. If I'm burning and I do it like a fast burn, and it depends on the wood, my house never drops below 74. That's never drops. It wouldn't matter if it's 20 below outside. My house doesn't drop below 74. And sometimes I've gotten my house up to the point where we got to open windows to let the heat out, and I'm heating 2,300 square feet right now. So if you think about that, man, it gets pretty hot, dude. I've had days where we've had to open windows because it was reaching 90 inside the house, and it'd be -5 outside. So
So
wood
you
burning
literally,
stoves,
so you
yeah.
literally, and I just want people to know because I already know all this stuff. You literally you shop wood, you store wood during the summer, and you prep for
Yes.
winter, just like the ancestors.
Oh yeah, yeah. You make sure you season the wood. I recommend for people who can't necessarily get wood in abundance, contact a couple of tree trimming companies, places like that. Get the wood, split it yourself, and put it up. Because a lot of the time, those companies, they take the wood, they're going to take it to a brush pile, they're going to dump it, and it's going to be turned into mulch. So that was a quick way to get wood. Also, sawmills. You can go to sawmills. You can request wood from sawmills. They're generally pretty good about it. It's cheap. Being able to get it to you and split it. Um, Me personally, I like to split by hand. It keeps me in shape. That's why I get my wood starting, fall. As soon as winter lets up, I start collecting wood. I split it, let it dry. Normally, wood, depending on what type it is. If it's ash, you could burn it right away. Oak, oak on a minimum, you have to wait a year. Yeah, so and it just depends on the grade of wood and the size of the log. I've had to I've had to season wood for 2.5 years. If you get like a real good thing of red oak, you're gonna be seasoning it for 2 years, man. Dead serious. It'll
Yeah.
burn, but you don't want it to smolder.
So you literally know what it means to you know prep all year and get ready for the winter. It's like routine for you. You literally like this guy chopping wood in your yard, right, in front of all your neighbors and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. My neighbors used to think I was crazy. I'm not going front. My neighbors used to think I was crazy because when the tree companies would drop off and they would drop a truckload full of wood in my front yard, and I just get to cutting it down and splitting it myself. One, it's more cost effective. Two, it's a good workout. So I've always loved splitting wood. It's always been one of the things I do. Um, but I will tell people know what wood you can't burn and you can burn because there are certain woods that you would prefer to burn and certain woods you don't. Like I'm not a big fan of burning pine, but I got people who I know once you get up in Canada, that's what they burn is white pine. But it's not recommended down here because we have a yellow pine. It's got a heavy sap buildup, and when you burn it, it puts um, it puts soot in your fireplace. Also, it burns so hot that occasionally you'll see flames shoot out of people's fire out of the fireplace. I've
Hmm.
seen it happen before.
All right. So maybe we've been kind of just talking about it, or like it's just some casual thing. So what is the whole point of all this? Why do you do this every year? Why don't you just chill and relax all summer and then just put on the heat and watch some TV and chill, man?
You want me to be honest?
Yeah, we got to get to the real what we got. It's called doomsday prepping for a reason.
Yeah,
Let's talk about what doomsday means.
man, I believe there's some stuff coming around the corner, and even with doomsday, it could be something that could revert us back 75 years, and most people would know how to act, man. You know, you get a solar flare, something that's going to knock out the power. People aren't going to know what to do. You get a famine. Um, Matter of fact, say they just decide to go ahead and cut the lights off one day.
Yeah.
Say if they, say if they want to just go ahead and get rid of the food source. They're like, all right, cool. Well, we're getting bored, so we're just going to take out the food source. We
Well,
currently know that there's a lot of people who are
who's
in
currently
charge
buying?
of food sources shouldn't be.
Well, this is nothing like conspiracy. Who's buying all the farms in the U.S. recently? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah, the rich are, man. If you
one
look
one
at you can look
specifically,
at what Bill Gates is buying.
Bill
Bill Gates
Gates.
is buying all the potatoes that are in McDonald's fries. He's buying a lot of farmland, a little bit of everywhere. It's the rich and the famous are buying it. Yeah,
He has 110,000
111,000 hectares.
hectares of farmland he bought from in the U.S., guys. Why do you think he's
Hmm.
doing that? You just mentioned it. You just mentioned it. If they want to decide to cut the food, right? And
Hmm.
why is he doing this? This is stuff that's really happening. All right, really happening. In case you guys don't know. So so you say okay, doomsday, right? So you got a solar flare. What can a solar flare do?
Solar flare, depending on where it's set off, solar flare could knock out the grid for. It's been said that a good solar flare could knock out the grid for about 3 to 5 years, but that would be the same thing as dealing with. Say, for instance, there was a nuclear war and they exploded the nukes in the atmosphere. and it would cause an EMP that took out power and electricity in many different areas. So as far as that goes, yeah, I don't think most people understand how fast it could happen, but also how slow it could happen. There could be a degradation of society to the point where, say the banks go down. Um, my big thing is artificial intelligence. A lot of people rely on it, but say, for instance, what if one day AI decided to go rogue? We never really know what's going to happen, especially with the advancements in technology every day. We could be looking at people going to laugh at me, but we could be looking at a Terminator type event. If you look at how that was predicted in Skynet, man, it could become a modern day thing. Not saying it's going to, but yeah.
Yeah, why not? Especially if they're letting like the cars and the drones and the planes be automatic, remote controlled and stuff like that. So if it's remote controlled, then AI can control it, and once you give it access, that's very possible. All this is very possible. They're already doing it. They're already kind of switching up a lot of humans for robots. More in other countries, I heard, than in the U.S., but it's
Ooh.
gonna happen, right?
Yeah, well, job displacement. If you look at job displacement right now, they're talking about taking certain fast food restaurants, having two or three people working in there, and the rest be AI. So you never know what's around the bend. Economic collapse. Uh, like I said, with the way that the world is right now, we have no earthly idea what's going to go on. So that's how I see it personally. Not trying to be an absolute conspiracy theorist. I'm not trying to cause fear, but I'm also not saying this is what's going to happen. But at the current momentum of what's going on between states, different countries, I'm not going to get into that because that's controversial. But we could be on the brink of World War III.
Hmm. So, how would that affect? How do you think that would affect? What do you? How do you think that would affect society right now? And
Ooh,
how does prepping help with that?
prepping helps to keep you outside of that. Prepping helps to keep you in a safe place, a generally decent area where you feel safe and you're hopefully at a tactical advantage. So when you're dealing with and you're looking at a situation like, okay, even better, if you're looking at a situation between what would go on, you'd possibly be looking at, unfortunately, a civil war. There's a lot of division in this country as it is. It wouldn't take very much. Once again, I'm going to plug that movie. You have to watch the movie Leave the World Behind. That is a great movie, and all it could take is misinformation. It could take a couple different things to set it off. It could be misinformation. It could be an internal attack. It could be an external attack. It could be an EMP. The possibilities are endless right now, and that's something that we really do need to look into overall.
Okay. So, you're basically doing a type of prepping, which is, I guess, bug in.
Yes, I'm doing a
Okay.
bug
So,
in.
let's explain the bug in, its benefits, and then explain what is your
Bug
alternative?
out.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, bug out. You have an alternative, and explain that for everybody to understand the difference.
Okay, first we'll go with bug out. The reason why I'm going with bug out is I want to explain what people think bugging out is versus what it really is. Okay. Um, I'm trying to keep my vocabulary, like I'm trying not to cuss. So
No, don't worry if the French comes out.
yeah, it's all good. Okay, a bug out scenario is when you have to leave your area and move to a different area, maybe even to your bug in location. People have this very, very weird concept that you're going to be able to bug out and survive in the wilderness. The chances of that happening are slim to nil. I'll be honest because I hear people say that shit all the time. Oh man, I'm going to bug out in the wilderness. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You have to understand. I hear that from like That's the average saying, that people think they're going to run to the woods and
Yeah.
are going to be able to hunt and fish and do all those things. With Unfortunately, it's not sustainable. That's why we have deer hunting season. That's why we have specific seasons for specific animals, because if everyone did it, it wasn't sustainable. If you think and you look at the amount of people who actually go hunting during a deer season versus the amount of deer that are killed and the population that dwindles, that in itself is a scary thing. So now let's say, for instance, we take the population of a city. So we're going to go ahead and take a city and say there's like 3 million people in there. So you take 3 million people, you displace them, you put them in a situation where they all need food. Now let's think about this from a realistic standpoint. So now we're going to go ahead and these people are going to all 3 million of these people are going to go out in the woods. Half of them don't know how to hunt. Half of them have never used a firearm. A very small majority of them even remotely know what they're doing. You're going to end up getting hurt, or someone's going to end up hurting you. And then somebody concepts put zombie deer disease. Yeah, that's true. You have deer. It's deer wasting disease, where
Yeah.
these animals are literally wasting away while they're alive. You got blue tongue. You have a list of diseases and viruses that are going to be out there. Lyme disease is going to be on the uptick because all these people are going to be going in the woods. Then you have to realize there's not only spiders, snakes, and everything else that a lot of people fear, but you have to combat yourself and make sure you have antibiotics for the things that are there. So, unfortunately, bug out is a very, very common misconception, that people are going to be able to bug out and bam, you're right there. Not necessarily. Bugging out, you have to be sure you can carry your bug out bag when you are bugging out. So if you're 110 pounds soaking wet and you're carrying a 90-pound bug out bag, you're not going to make it far. So you have to carry what you can that's good enough for you, carry the things that you need, and make sure that you are as efficient as possible with your bug out bag. Now, I'm going to go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so the benefits to bugging out are being able to move from point A to point B and leave a possibly bad situation. But there's way more downfalls to bugging out than there is. Are you going to be able to carry a shelter when you get to your location? How many people's property are you going to be crossing? How many different people will you be crossing in the woods? And let's be honest here, as much as I hate to say it, people will resort to cannibalism in order to survive. I'm not saying it's right away, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, let it all spill out. You got to give every scenario, and people got to understand how real it might get. This is the whole point.
Oh yeah, not to mention wild animals, just overall hatred.
The weather.
Yeah, the weather will take you out, especially in the winter.
Yeah.
If you're up here in the winter, especially in like the Midwest, North Canada area, and you don't have firewood, you're worm chow, man. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Because how are you going to heat yourself? How are you going to cook? How are you going to? People don't put enough emphasis on how important fire is. Fire is extremely important. That's why I stock up 6, 8, 10 cords a year, and I burn from the next season and keep going, because fire is life. In the wintertime, being able to cook, being able to clean yourself, being able to drink water, being able to sanitize water, that's life. So there's all kinds of things. Now, the bug-in situation, since I explained the bug-out pros and cons, the bug-in is actually really good, but you're going to have to be able to protect yourself. Bugging in is when you store your foods, either at your home or a different location that you're able to get to. Now, you're able to get to this place. You've got your food, you've got your water, you've got shelter, you've got a lot of different things that you're going to need. So bugging in is probably going to get you a lot more longevity, but it'll keep you out of the way of what people call the zombies or the zombie apocalypse. It's not these people are zombies. It's the fact they're going to be doing whatever they can to survive, which that in itself is going to inflict a lot of damage and a lot of chaos. So being able to stay in the comforts of your own home, board up your windows, being able to eat the food that you have, um, that's going to save a lot, and it's going to keep you from possibly going to the camps, quote unquote, that they're going to have around, giving food and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Now you're going to have to learn the gray man too, but I'll get into that when that's asked. But and
So
that's one of the things that is, but bug in the back draw with bugging in is you can't just pick up everything and move. Also, if you are not careful, you will become a target. That's one of the things that's going to happen. If you bug in, people know that you're a prepper, people know what you have, they can smell you cooking. You're going to have to find ways to hide things like flames, fire, lights. If the power's out, don't turn on your lights, because on average, the average light can be seen from 7 to 10 miles away on a straight stretch in a dark city. So everyone's going to be coming. If the power's out, cut your power off. That's one of the things that happen. If no one else is cooking, don't cook. Find a way to do something like instant noodles or something that you don't have to cook that's going to put off a smell.
hmm.
Don't make the don't make the mistakes a lot of preppers make. Um, just because we do prep, and I'm going to be honest, doesn't mean we're invincible. And bugging in puts me and the individuals bugging in at a tactical advantage because we're familiar with our surroundings. Bugging out puts you at a disadvantage if you're not familiar with your surroundings. You could be running at night and just take your ass right off a cliff. Unfortunately, it's funny, but you could get wildly coyote, man. You don't know what's out there in the woods. You know, a lot of
Yeah.
animals do attack at night. You could be
So
dealing with poisonous spiders in the cold. If you're in the desert, your body heat's going to attract snakes, spiders, other things that are going to want to curl up and be warm with you. Rats,
um,
yeah,
Amy said, learn to make shelters like a dugout in case you have to leave your home permanently. What do you think about that?
yes. Dugouts are good. They're temporary, of course, but they are good. Once you're under the earth, um, you can maintain heat, but also maintain cool. So that works as long as you're not with the bugs. Now, if you're in an area where you do have certain types of animals that could go inside there, you could always go up in a tree, and that's where you want to put your food at anyway, is put your food up in a tree. But if you're with different types of predators, just knowing your area. But yeah, the dugout thing is wonderful. They normally call them foxholes, is what they used in Vietnam and different parts of the military. And you could stay there for a while, a good while, especially if you know your surroundings and you know what you're dealing with. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So just real quick, this is a news channel, a new breed of prepper. Make sure to check it out. I put the link and it's pinned in the chat. I'll make sure before we continue talking. And somebody's asking, so I guess they brought us, so how do you filter water in nature, like when you bugging out?
okay. When you're filtering water in nature, oh man, there's so many ways to do it. If you have fire, you could even put a plastic bottle that's full of water in fire. It's not going to melt because the water will keep it from melting. It'll boil and sanitize it. You have basically you have the sun method where you could put it in the sun as you connect two bottles together, you put it in the sun. As it heats up, is going to cause vapor to go into the second bottle. The vapor sterile. You got 5-step filters with rock, gravel, charcoal, and wood pieces. You've got you can put plastic down in the morning, and the dew catches, and it'll drip into a bowl. Oh, there's so many ways you can do it. Me personally, now if I was to recommend a water filter, the best water filter is right there, the Sawyer Mini. I've got about 15 of those. The Sawyer Minis are great. I'm not trying to plug that in as a product. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Generally, I think it does 50,000, 500,000 gallons of water. It's got a backflow. It connects to water bottles. It connects to backpacks. I mean, I swear by those things. I've got so many here. that I keep them. I keep them, and it filters out more water than its competitor, the Life Straw. I've tried it, used it,
All right.
love it.
So I'm gonna put the link on the chat, guys. If you like to, this is something I have as well. Very useful in case you need it. You never know, at least two or three. Cause like this one alone, this one, how many gallons? Uh, it says
Yeah, you're gonna have to scroll down.
filter rated
There
up
we
to
go. Filter rate.
100,000 gallons.
Hmm.
Okay. So you can use this link. It'll actually help me too. Cause that's like a affiliate link if you guys are interested in getting that. And that's a pretty good actual product. So, but there's the natural ways, and then you can have that as well. So that would be a form of prepping, having these kind of supplies.
Okay. Okay. All right, there we go. Game God 226 asked, "What about the straw?" The reason why I'm not a big fan, you can go ahead and look it up if you could, Cootie Mail. It's called
The
Life Straw.
straw, life straw.
If you look up the Life Straw and you see how many gallons it can actually filter out,
Oh wow.
and it also doesn't have a backflow. That's one thing I don't like with the Sawyer Mini. It's got a backflow where you push it through, but I prefer, like I said,
Well,
I prefer my Sawyer Mini. Do I have those? Yes, I do. I'm not gonna lie, I bought them. Easy, quick, compact. Both of them are, but you know, it's just it's my
I
preference.
mean, I mean, they're drinking from clean rivers. I mean, that looks like clean rivers in these photos.
Yeah, look at go ahead and look at the gallon rating, Life Straw gallon rating.
Okay. Let's see. How much gallons does this one do? Uh,
Yeah, it's nowhere near as much. That's the reason why I went with the Sawyer Mini. Let me see.
40 gallon. It can purify up to 40 gallons. That's a big difference.
Yeah,
100,000.
it can do 40 gallons per hour, but it gets contaminated very quickly though. Go
Okay.
ahead and go ahead and you can look it up, but it doesn't get anywhere near 100,000 gallons, and it doesn't have a backflow. So all the dirt that comes in. So with the Sawyer Mini, you drink from it, and as it traps dirt and microns in it, it has something called a backflow feature where you take clean water, you shoot it through, and it shoots the dirt out of the back, so it doesn't just keep compiling up. The Life Straw doesn't have that. It doesn't have a
Okay.
backflow filter. So if you look at the Sawyer Mini, it has a syringe that comes with it to be able to help clean.
Okay, cool. And somebody's saying, can you drink seawater?
Oh nah, oh no.
Yeah.
Seawater has so much salt it causes dehydration. You just get thirstier as you go.
Will
Now,
seawater
you
work on this?
yes, seawater will work with that. It'll clog up the filter, but it'll take the salt out. Now,
Wow.
even if you're using those, I always tell people still boil your water if you can. Now, if
Yeah.
you boil your water, there's a very simple way. If you boil your water, not just for the salt, all you need is a cap and a tube. As you boil, the steam goes up, and you can catch the steam in a different bottle that's completely separate from the salt. So basically, it's distilling your water. I do it all the time. I distill my water, and I mean it's good stuff. I distill my water, and then I add minerals to it.
Cool, cool. All right, so we got some tips for bugging out, bugging in. We know a little bit of the difference of bugging out, bugging in. If people weren't clear about that and they didn't know what to do. Now, um, okay, so bugging in, somebody said it's good to have dugouts, but also you have like plans, right? So let's say everybody's not home when shit hits the fan. What do you do then?
Oh yeah, see me, my children, myself, we all have meetup locations based off of where we're at. So it's best to print out a map for your children. If you have children, print out a map. And the reason why that is important is figure out a meetup location, not just a meetup location. Make sure they have a map letting them know where to go and how to get there. Of course, we don't have MapQuest nowadays, but you can still get on there, print it, give it to your children, let them know the directions on how to get home. Because the problem with allowing people to wait for you to get there is because
Yeah.
who knows when you're going to get there. If you're further away than what they are, if they're 5 minutes away from home and it's going to take me an hour from the location, why would I make them wait in a dangerous situation? Now, I've always taught them to be able to meet up with friends around the general area, and all their friends would be able to walk home at the same time. And I have talked to the parents and different ones to let them know if there was a bad event that they're able to get home together because there's safety in numbers. You're less likely to do anything. Stay off of the main roads. Don't go the freeways. Take the back ways home. If you have a kid who's a bus rider, figure out a location that they can chill on the way if the bus is too far away. I mean, if the house is too far away. So if they've got an hour and a half walk to get home, find a family member, a friend, a really good person where they can have a meetup spot, and you can meet them there, depending on the age of the child, because you don't want a young child just roaming the streets. Even if they're a teenager, make sure you have like a spot that they can meet up. Always give a map. Like I said, give a map and give an ID card that I keep with me, and it has a list of my emergency names and numbers just in case something were to happen and you find me. It's a laminated card and it has the names and numbers of important people. So if you need to get in touch. So that's,
Cool.
that's generally how I go about it.
Cool. So do they carry like certain things like all the time, or like, just in case?
Yeah. Yeah, they got something called a get your ass home pack. It's just a small pack with basic stuff, band-aids, Q-tips.
You got to create the pack, man. And so,
Yeah, yeah. You have to make it. You're not just going to buy it. And if you buy them, be very careful, because I warned in my video, a lot of those small packs, they have things that be considered weapons, and you don't want your kid to go to school with a weapon and get suspended. So if you're going to buy a pre-made pack, take out the fishing hooks, take out the because most of the forks in those things, they have a knife on the end of them. Take out the knife, take out any like pointy sharp object outside of a pen, so your kid doesn't get suspended or expelled for having that in school. So, but always make sure they have something small like burn cream. Um, Even though it may be overkill, a compass, band-aids, they have the necessities that they need to get home. And I make sure my kids have a little snack, something, a water bottle, electrolytes that they could pour in, because I don't necessarily know what situation they're going to be in. So therefore, I always try to put them in the best possible situation they can to make it home. And I make
Cool.
sure that my kids know how to get back and forth, because I walk with them and they know the route, how to get back home. Now, kids that age, like younger, 5, 6 year olds, establish something with someone very close or a teacher. Um, Now, this is the scary thing. I'm going to be honest with you, and once again, I'm just throwing everything out there. There are going to be people, teachers, and everyone else who aren't going to care about your kids or anything else, because they're going to want to get home. If shit hit the fan, and a lot of people, cops, fire department, people like that, some people will abandon their job and they want to make it home to their kids, so they're really not worried about your children. Just being honest. Some people may not like to hear it, but it's true. Um, so you always want to make sure you have things, and even the card that my kids have, it doesn't give my exact location, but it gives a neighbor's house a couple doors down where the kids would be able to just walk to my house. My worst fear would be that my children are picked up. They know I'm a prepper, so they're going to come to my house and grab my stuff. And that puts me at a tactical disadvantage. At least if my kids, at least if I see someone bringing my kids up
Yeah.
and they're going to a couple of doors down, I can formulate a plan to, like, I can knock the hair off a fly's ass from 100 yards. It's not an issue. So when you're taught to shoot and taught what to do, it is what it is. So
Cool. So that's a lot of things people don't think about, their family members, even their pets. I know you did like a little a quick video or just to like, cause somebody asks you. So what do you? How about your pets? Like, what should you have a dog? Is it a good idea to have a dog?
Yeah, good and bad. Now, when you're prepping with pets, there's a couple things you have to take into account. One, your pet's going to need to eat. So either A, it's going to eat the food that you eat, or B, stock up enough for your pets. Stock up enough dog food, buy an extra bag or two, um, because you're going to be doing that just like a human. Now, people who are scared of pets, that's great. People who are scared of dogs, they can protect you, they can do everything. They can alert you of intruders. Now, the other part of that is they can also draw intruders. Just because you got a dog, don't mean your dog is going to attack in the right situation. People may
Yeah.
think that, oh, I've got this dog, my dog loves me, it'll attack. They did videos where they were breaking into people's houses, and some of the dogs that were vicious were jumping out the window and leaving their owners behind.
Like this one.
You can,
He's
yeah, you could look it up. You could look it up on YouTube, man. And a lot of those people, they come
yeah.
in there and they yell and they scream, and all of a sudden the dog just jumps out the window or runs and doesn't protect the owner. And depending on the size and breed of dog you have, some dogs can't protect the owners.
Yeah.
So drawing attention, and once again, another unfortunate thing is when food runs out. Let's be honest here. We know what people are going to resort to. Um, they
Hot
will eat
dogs.
their pets.
Literally.
Yeah, they're gonna have hot dogs. So people will. Most people are going to. Well, certain individuals are going to release their animals into the wild. The problem with that is these dogs will start to form packs. If you look at India, they
Yeah.
have packs of wild dogs that run the streets, and they run the streets.
Yeah. They'll
You
run you
know,
off. Literally.
yeah, they'll run you off, and there have been rare cases where they will eat the elderly. If those
Mm.
dogs haven't been fed, they will
Yeah.
pack up and they will eat the elderly and people who are less fortunate.
Okay.
Um, so as you release your pets and you think they don't need food, yeah, they do. You just might be that food. Now
So
on the
so you're
sorry, go
dealing
ahead,
with
bro.
hungry people and hungry
Hmm.
pets, hungry dogs roaming around.
Yes, and actually, I just caught something across the screen. The problem, it's Marcy Shears. The problem with prepping is that you have no idea what you're prepping for. You're going to need something. Nobody hoping is hoping for the best here, I see. Um, it's hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. So it's not necessarily saying that, oh, it's going to be a situation where it's automatically going to be bad, because there are going to be good times. There's going to be good times. There's going to be good people. There's going to be people who are going to link up, and they're going to be able to make small communities. But the problem is, in my personal opinion, I can't necessarily say, but my personal opinion is in today's day and age, everything has changed from a community base to an individual base, where people are all about themselves or the things that they want or the things that they do. It's like one day at the pool, if one day at the swimming pool, and it's been proven that if somebody yells, like a child yells mom, people will look for their kid first, and once they see their kid, their brain clicks off. Same thing with a lot of different situations where um, yelling help or fire or different things like that. And that has been shown that when people see that their individual thing is okay, then they'll be like, oh, okay, that's not my kid. That's not this. That's not that. And that's been shown to happen at different areas. Now, you do have heroes. You do have heroes who will come out who are going to step up. I personally make bags for people who are less than fortunate. They have soap, toothpaste, toothbrush. They have, rice, bouillon cubes, and beans. So I want to help people, but let's be honest. Um, and I only say let's be honest because in a situation that's a famine, that is an actual famine, because stores only supply 3 days worth of food. They have something called the just-in-time system. The
Yeah.
just-in-time system means that stores only stock 3 days worth of food, so it helps these stores that they don't have to have massive back stock in certain things that don't sell, it doesn't take up stock in their areas. So we watched COVID. Everybody watched COVID. We watched people run to the stores. We saw people who didn't give a damn about anybody else. They were all about getting their toilet paper, their paper towels. They were about getting their food. They didn't care if you had a child or anything else. So that kind of set the base for me with people and how people react with situations. I sat back because I was already prepped. I had everything I needed. And I was people watching. Just sitting down there watching people, how they reacted. People were freaking out. People were hoarding things. People were stockpiling. They were grabbing shit that they didn't need. They were grabbing things in abundance. They didn't care about the next person. So unfortunately, that kind of set the precedence for that's how I prep today.
Unfortunately, there's bad apples in every society, every tribe, every town, every hood, every country, every walks of life. There's bad apples, right? So you gotta expect that, and hopefully there's a lot of good people out there. And when the time comes to do right for the right people, not just for any, but for the right people, because you'll know, real recognize real. When shit hits the fan, you'll see how real that gets. And
yeah.
Yeah, none of that fake stuff is gonna be. Fake people won't survive.
Hey, real life people were cutthroat. People were so cutthroat when the pandemic happened. I watched people who had abundance of stuff, and family members would call and they're like, I just can't. I was like, wow, that's cold. I remember when stuff went downhill, family would call me and I'm like, cool, I'll be right there. I'll drop it off at your door so we don't have to make face-to-face contact. You do what you do, holler at me if you need some more. Because I knew, this too shall pass. But like I said, I saw some cutthroat people. I saw people stocking up on 30, 40 cases of water. You see a woman with kids and she's like, oh, can I get a case or two? And they're just like, no. So that's what scared me. That's what really scared me, man. Humanity reared its ugly ass face during the pandemic, and I saw the coldest shit I ever seen in my life. I saw some good moments too now. Don't get me wrong. I saw people go out of their way to help others. But the majority was people who were looking out for themselves. So
I just wanted to add that, I just wanted to add that and be realistic, and I just hope there's good people out there that's gonna do the right thing, and I know there is, and we're gonna be able to build up, and because okay, to me this is my opinion, right? I want to answer the lady in the chat. You don't know what you're really prepping for, so you kind of prep for a little bit for everything. Hopefully you prep the right way. If it's in your spirit, if it's not in your spirit, you don't. Nobody can force you. This is nothing people should be forced to do. If it's not in the spirit to do it, or if they don't want to do it, So this is more for people who are actually interested in it and might find this valuable. Because to me, in my opinion, this is not just a conspiracy. We're like talking about real things that are happening, and real things that are closer and closer to happening. So when we got millionaires and all these people building bunkers and all that, and we already see we so
yeah, it's getting bad. They're building bunkers everywhere.
And the reason I know this is because we cannot build we can't have the society, the world we want, unless Babylon's gone.
Yeah, it's gonna fall.
I'm not saying how, but we're not talking about going out and doing bad stuff. We're talking about that's just change is inevitable. Change is coming because our children, our children's children are gonna know, more of the truth. They're not gonna be puppets. They're not gonna be participating willingly, becoming strawmen, all that. And the change is coming. So in order for that change to come, unfortunately, our comforts of our type of society, that's not real life. I'm sorry to say, guys, like going to supermarkets and all that, and having to pay for water, all this stuff, pay for electricity. That's in a different type of society, not meant for us. And that's comforts that you think is a comfort. That's control. That's control. So go ahead and do my fault.
Oh no, you all good. You all good, dog. I'm sitting here. I'm looking at the chat right now, so I'm trying to go through the chat. We are going. We are definitely going to have to do a Q&A, like a question and answer. When you ask it, I'm gonna just start answering them as quick as I can
Yeah.
because it seems like there's a lot of questions out there.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, we'll get to that, but right now, we can keep going on like Gray Man. But like you said, dude, there are going to be people who are going to come together. But at first, there's going to be panic. People are going to panic. People are going to separate and divide. People are going to look out for themselves first. Preppers try to avoid that. So prepping, I would not say is a bad thing. Prepping puts you out of the way. Now, if we can influence more people to prep, then that's less people we have to worry about coming for our stuff.
Yeah.
And these are people that we can also be like-minded and
Hmm.
join with. The problem is if I have 50 people in my neighborhood and I'm trying to encourage them to prep and none of them prep, then those are 50 more people coming for my shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Exactly.
saying that in a bad way, but I'd rather have it where I go out and I'm like, all right, cool, here. And what I do in my neighborhood is I'm just gonna be honest, I'll put out one of my prepping secrets. So get your pen and paper ready, all right? What I do is at the end of the season, especially like seasons where uh, different stores have fruit trees. Say Lowe's, Home Depot, places like that. Wherever you go to get your fruit trees, I don't know where your stores are at. It is what it is. At the end of the year, wait till there's a sale and wait till they're marked all the way down. I go up and I say, hey, can I buy all your fruit trees for like the low? Whether it be 5, 10, 15, 20 fruit trees left, I'll buy them all. I'll go ask my neighbors if I can plant them in their yard. Some say yes, some say no. But as long as I plant these fruit trees in people's yard, that's a sustainable food source that people won't have to come to me to get. And then also, I can go to them. I'm currently in the city. I have 24 different fruit trees in my backyard, and it doesn't have to be a huge area.
Hmm.
If you get together as a community, you guys can plant food together. You guys can plant trees together. Each person can be congregate. Each person can have an area to do. So, say for instance, I'll be growing green leafy vegetables. The next person will be growing fruit trees. The next person can be growing beans. One yard can only grow so much, but a whole community could grow enough to actually sit down and make a giant garden, and each person is designated something very specific in order to, get their stuff done. So once they do that, and you have these community gardens and people who are they take pride in the situation, they're able to provide for each other, then it's all good. That definitely helps out. Here, give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Don't worry. Yeah, guys. So hope you guys been taking down the notes in case uh you were not informed about this kind of stuff. We're not interested. Um, I knew was a real life prepper. Motivated me to at least be on my toes. Doesn't matter if I'm even prepping the right way. I'm in my spirit. At least I'm doing something right, and I'm staying productive. I try to have my garden going. Even if I'm not producing, I'm actually learning. All these years of just practicing with the garden, I'm getting better and better. I'm learning how to, do that. I got the well going. I'll be able to have my water. I have my own water source now. That was a big project. Again, shout out to my mom. A big project. The chickens are gonna come back, so I get the chickens going again. I have protein, and we are. I just put a lot of wiring and anti-breaking uh, wiring in my property, making sure nobody gets in
Hmm.
and stuff, and like just things like that. And have the dog ready, like Anu was saying, have your pets ready. But a community garden, I mean, to me, this would be so perfect. Like, like if people did this everywhere, that one dude, and he's from the hood. He started doing it in people's front yards and in his yard and the neighbor's yard, and now the whole community started. He became rich. Now he's doing a master class on YouTube. You know what I'm talking
Hmm.
about. So
Yeah, and you can
that's.
eat,
Go ahead.
and it gives people a reason to live. Like, I don't think people understand when you come together as a community, you have a reason to live, a reason to respect each other, and a reason to be kind and kind to each other, because you're working for a general goal. And when there's an abundance of food, you don't have to worry about people stealing and coming for your stuff.
Yeah,
It's so much easier that way. And since it's a community, people will look out for each other. One, but they'll also make sure that outsiders coming in are vetted properly before they come in.
yeah,
Now, don't think communities are just going to sit and chill though. But yeah,
yeah. There's the good and the bad, right? The good and the ugly. So being aware of both scenarios, right? That's why you gotta have a strong leadership and real leaders. How I would say again, in my opinion, chosen by the people, not by themselves,
hmm,
based on their actions, based on their sacrifice. Because a lot of people ain't willing to sacrifice, and when it comes to prepping, that's sacrifice. You're making a sacrifice. You could be storing for nothing for years, and you probably have been, but you're
hmm,
always ready, man. You're always ready, and something like that eventually is gonna be blessed because you're not dependent on somebody to give you electricity or to give you food or to protect your family. How they're gonna
yeah,
protect you? Okay, let's talk about that. How are they gonna protect you? You think the can you call the police if shit hits the fan?
nah, oh nah, because they're going to be trying to get home to theirs. Police, fire department. Um, a lot of those systems are going to be down or out, or they're going to be so widely dispersed that it's going to take forever to get to you. You think there's only so many police, so many fire departments, so many people who work on these different things. They're going to be spread thin because there are going to be people who are panicking, trying to destroy things, break in. Um, like I said, unfortunately, it is what it is.
Yeah,
So we have to look at it from that standpoint and realize since they're going to be spread thin, you can't always look for a hero. Sometimes you have to be the hero that you're looking for. You can't sit there and want Spider Man or Superman to save you or super person. But yeah, sometimes you got to be that one. So
cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so because it could get pretty ugly, and again, maybe bugging in, maybe well, it depends on where people are living and their situation, if they even own their own house or whatever. So it's a little different for everybody. Everybody kind of gotta analyze what they can do. They might be able to find a bug in place though, a family member or a friend, right? And then work out a deal where hey man, we protect each other, you know, and something like that. Um, what do you think about that? Like if somebody know, like if they don't got a bug in place, they can find somebody to bug in with. Uh, what can they what can they like bring to the table?
yeah, you have to be able to bring something to the table when you're bugging in with somebody if they allow you to. There's going to be people who do, and there are different type of preppers. There are going to be people who do and people who don't, of course. But um, if you're allowed to bug in, have something to bring to the table. Don't just think you're going to go there and eat for free, live for free, all that other good stuff. It don't work like that.
Well,
So
Enigmatic said, if you're bugging out but have no immediate destination, you're effing dead or some worse. So that's the whole point of bugging out, being
yeah,
ready to do that. That's why you prep for that. You prep for why would you be ready for it. If you think that's what's gonna happen for you, then that's something maybe you should look into bugging out, prepping for that. But Anu was explaining earlier. Um, you got a lot of have a destination. Like, so talk about that. Where? Okay, in general, where should people head to? Should they go? where you think most people would go to, what to avoid in a bug out situation? What do you think, Anu?
Oh wow. Uh, it depends on the surroundings and what a person's familiar with.
Okay,
So,
so environment.
yeah, the environment is a big thing. When you're bugging out, be careful where you're bugging out because if you're bugging out, you're just running through random land. You're going to run across someone's land, and trust me, they ain't gonna take too kindly to that. So, you're gonna have to know when to move and how to move. Also, you can't just bug out without a general location to go to because, like you said, you're you're as good as gone. Like your worm child. Um, Once you leave familiar surroundings, basically you're living off of instinct. If you don't know where you're going and you're destined for nowhere, survival kicks in, and it's generally the lone wolf method in that. Um, it's not going to be a living dead situation. It's not going to be like a walking dead situation where you're going to have 20 or 30 people with you, as convenient as they may seem, and going to different locations, just taking them over, because people are going to be thinking what you're thinking before you thought it. There are other people out there who are going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be out in the woods. They're going to be running. They're going to be trying to get whatever scraps of food they can get or whatever else they can acquire. So it's best to figure out a location where you'd prefer to go because as humans now, we're not really migratory creatures. So that's where the problem in itself would lie is killing a deer, eating 3 pounds of it, and then you're stuck leaving the rest of the carcass there. You've wasted a lot of food. You've wasted a lot of time. Um, building a homestead. You may stumble across a wonderful place to be able to build your own homestead, protect it, and be with a community. You may wander into a community, but being aimless generally doesn't work well for the person who's doing it.
Yeah, so where do you think people will head to? They're like, I'm gonna go to a warm place, or I'm gonna go to
Oh man,
Mexico. I'm gonna go to
people are
Canada.
running to warm. Yeah, people are running down south. They're running to a warm climate where they think they can get food all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm standing. That's why I'm standing in a cold area because I just go off of the conversations I've had with different preppers. So when I say the things I say, these are based off of conversations that I've had when I help people. You can contact me and I can help you get a prepping plan set up where we can sit down, talk about prepping, figure out what you need for your geographic location and region. But, what I'm going to say is that when it comes to situations like that, people are going to run to a warm climate where they can get food all year around. But everyone I talk to says that. They say the same thing. I'm going to be in a cold climate. The threat is less than in a colder climate because one, most people don't know how to keep themselves warm. So they have to run. Most people don't know how to hunt, get food in the winter. They have to leave. So the colder climates, they're going to be better off. If you are not a person who knows how to survive in a cold climate, you're going to run for a warmer climate. You're going to the West Coast, you're hitting anywhere in the South, and I mean like parts of North America. But if you're in like Canada or somewhere, most of them know, they know what to do. I'm not saying all, but a lot of houses don't even have fireplaces anymore. People bricked up their fireplaces, or they knocked them down, or they capped them and they turned them into something else. So even where I'm at, a lot of people broke them down, turned them into something else. So people really don't have a way to sustain and be good in the wintertime. So the first chance they get, they're leaving, either leaving or freezing to death, one or the other. Most people don't even. Most people didn't take the time to get a 30 below sleeping bag. That's one of the first things you want to get if you stay up here in a cold climate. Go get you a good, decent negative 30 sleeping bag because you can sleep in that thing, maintain heat, and still be fine. You wouldn't necessarily need fire. You need it to cook. But as far as staying warm, I got stuff rated for negative 30 degrees. They're Arctic sleeping bags. Them things
Yeah.
work great. I've tested them myself. I go out and I'll sleep in the fall when it's 40, 50 degrees and I'll be sweating in that damn thing.
Yeah, yeah, man. So that's a lot of tips for bugging out. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not always a means you're gonna, you're worse off. It depends. It depends. You know.
Hmm.
Um, bugging in. Now you're bugging in. Let's say you don't have to really worry about people because something happened and a lot of people is gone, right? So it's just like you and your family, your pets, maybe some neighbors here and there. But how do you? Okay, let's say, hey, it's gonna be like that for the next 20 years. What do you have in your house? How do you preserve your food? How are you stocking up?
Oh
What
yeah, yeah.
what do
Canning,
you
canning's a wonderful thing. I know it sounds
can it?
crazy, but there's still going to be a lot of food to be scavenged. A lot of people are going to run, and they only have so much weight they can carry with them, so they're going to leave a lot of stuff behind in these empty houses. You got to get to it before animals move in, of course. But that's what's going to happen when people leave the cities and these doors are open. Animals are going to move into those places. So
So,
you
so
know,
you said canning.
hunting's
So
going to be easy.
buying like canned food. Is that what you're saying?
You can do both. You can buy canned food because a lot of canned food has a very, very long shelf life. They started putting expiration dates on canned food. I'm not a doctor. I'm just giving y'all a heads up. But a lot of companies started putting expiration dates on canned food because people were keeping it for 15, 20 years. They didn't have to go back to the store and buy it. So expiration dates were put on food, and it's been shown. Keyword, it's been shown. Do your own reading, check it out, look it up. Don't take my word for it.
Yeah.
That certain canned foods are still good 5, 10, 15 years down the line as long as they have not been exposed to oxygen that allows the food on the inside to start to rot. So you can still get canned foods. Of course, you're going to be canning your own food. Learn how to do that properly, because if you don't learn how to can properly, you may give yourself botulism, and the last thing you want to do is shit yourself to death. I know that sounds funny, but I'm just being honest. You give yourself some bad stuff, yeah, it ain't gonna work out very well. You will dehydrate, you will hurt yourself. So, um, actually, concepts been dropping some jewels in there. Fasting too. You know, I fast and I do 18/6. So generally, I fast for 18 hours a day. I only eat for six, and when I eat for six, I'm only eating 2 meals. So I'm training myself to start burning fat rather than constantly eating. And 16 hours, I only drink water. So that's been my thing for the past. Oh man, I've been doing intermittent fasting for the past 12 years. Yeah, about 12 years. And then I also do umad sometimes. I'll do umad, which is 1 meal a day. It's one big meal that gives you your calories, and also sometimes I fast and I do a 24-hour fast, 24, 48, 36. You can go however many days, but disclaimer, please check with your healthcare professional before attempting to do anything like that, because I'm not going to be responsible for you fainting or collapsing because your blood sugar got too low. So that's my disclaimer.
Okay. Somebody's on a 7 day fast, so they know what you're talking about. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, so okay, so fasting, that's something you bring up, getting ready like that, getting your body used to not so craving like into that's what I was saying about earlier about our comforts in this society. That's not the real world. Like we used to have to work for our stuff, for our food, for our productivity. So we knew how to ration. We knew how to train our body to, get what it needs in smaller amounts or in more amounts or eat more often or eat, and eat healthier. And that'll last longer. The energy, the energy will last longer and stuff because we give ourselves bad energy, like a lot of sugar and a lot of like processed foods and stuff, and you know.
Yes.
So maybe getting that's a good thing you brought that up. Getting ready, practice now your your habits, your lifestyle, right? Your especially when it comes to getting ready like that. So you're saying you fast sometimes. Hey, try it out. See
Hmm.
how long you can go. See how long you can go. Drink some water. See how long you can go and see how it helps you here or not. I'm nobody's saying again disclaimer that do it.
Good
Watch
man.
videos, get coached. And you get hungry. Yeah, drink your water. You get dizzy. Yeah, drink your water. All that. This is
Hmm.
just picture you. So now imagine that you don't have the choice to do that. Imagine shit hits the fan and you have no choice and you are hungry and you have only water for a while.
Hmm.
What are you gonna do? And so this is for all the people I care for out there. This is just what me and Anu is doing, just so you guys can be aware and be ready if you want to be, and or at least it'll help you be in a better lifestyle. I think like prepping makes you
Yeah.
different, and your lifestyle, has like more meaning, and you're very productive. You stay productive even if you are kind of living more natural, in a way, you know. So that's for anybody that wants to try it out. So we've talked about a lot, man. I saw a picture here. I was just wanted to show. So like medical supplies, right? Medical supplies, food, tools, just like this little radio right here. You guys see in the image. This little radio is awesome. I got one of those because of Anu. So you can work it on solar. Let me show you guys.
The radios, they do solar, hand crank. They do solar, hand crank, and they have backup batteries, so you can use all three. And most
Yes.
of them carry a little charge in them. I swear by them. I got 5 of them, dude. And that's another thing that goes in my kids' backpacks. If there's an emergency weather alert, everything's already tuned to the emergency weather station. So
Yeah.
it does solar, USB charging, AAA batteries, and hand crank, and that thing works phenomenally.
Yes.
I make sure to keep about 4 or 5 of them around the house,
It's,
one for each family member, and then when I find them on sale, I'll buy another 2 or 3 more, and I give them to different family members just so they have them.
okay. So I'm gonna ahead and put the link for that here in the chat as well for you guys, in case you're interested. I have one of these. This is really good. Again, you could put batteries, but you could just run it off solar. But you could have the batteries as backup, and you'll always have a radio connection in an emergency, and it has a pretty good flashlight. And the
Mm-hmm.
best of all, which I like the most, is that in the bottom it has like this little switch where you can turn on an SOS alarm. It's like a really loud alarm. It has. It goes. "Wee, wee, 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 wee." It just makes this real loud noise. And so I be scaring people out of around my property all the time with that come on, "Wee, wee, wee," with the flash. And I
Just
signal,
messing with them.
yeah, start messing with them, and they start running away. But it's an SOS thing, just in case you need it, and it's pretty good signal. It's very cheap. It's waterproof, very resistant, solar. You can crank it as well if you don't got sun, and you can at least catch. You can keep cranking it. It'll play all day as long as you keep cranking it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But so go ahead and check it out if you're interested. And again, check out the description of a news video. He's gonna get put this on his video and the video. I'll probably put in the description as well, and so you guys can check it out. I don't know if you guys had any more questions. We just wanted to kind of bring this up again because I thought, especially I knew's always, prepping. So, um,
Yeah, if you got questions, it's the time to ask right now. Go ahead and throw them out, and I'll try my best to answer them.
yeah. If not, I think they're pretty much informed. Um, let's see. We went with the Most High. Yeah, like Anu
Yeah,
said,
always.
even Noah prepped. Even Noah was a prepper. Even Joseph prepped. They stored corn. Yeah, it's not, it's also biblical as well.
Okay.
When is it gonna happen? Hey, listen, like I was trying
No
to,
one knows.
no one knows the hour, but like I said, you can't, with the the bull can't last too long.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Eventually,
waiting.
all societies and all systems has fallen, regardless of everything you look through time. Rome, every great civilization has reached a peak before Armageddon hit or it collapsed. So
Yeah,
it's only eventual. So
yeah.
um, yeah, actually, enigmatic sun. Yeah, it's hitting the fan now. Depending on where you're at, right now, there's a lot of stuff going on. Um, okay. Yes, I am familiar with the Great Reset and the activation toward. Yes, I am. I'm actually very familiar with the Great Reset. So I'm familiar with that. I'm trying to answer as quick as possible because there's some questions. I can get more in depth. But yeah, the Great Reset, economic collapse, Um, it's all said to happen within this time. Then, if you get into biblical and you get into prophecy, they're currently saying that the X that the eclipse made over the United States, that's a big meaning. It's been a 7-year eclipse, and they say, some people are saying that's the beginning of woes. Um, how can you? Yes, you can use bleach drops. The bleach drops are 100 to 1. It's how to purify water that has been stored over a year in plastic bottles. Bleach drops do work. The ratio is 100 to 1 to purify it. If you can get other water, I would recommend it. So, cycling that water and cycling the water you get, that definitely helps out. As far as you buy a case, drink your old case. Don't just stock up 50 cases and then just only drink the new stuff that comes in. With even your canned goods, eat what you currently have as you bring new stuff in. So put the new stuff to the back. Push the new stuff to the back, bring the old stuff to the front. Make sure you eat it and you rotate your stuff so you're not stuck with the old stuff when stuff hits the fan.
Yeah. I'm big on what Andrea's saying is like there's many ways to prep, like physically like this, spiritually, emotionally, um uh well, physically too, I mean in health, like are you able to run long distance? Are you able to, like, if you needed to protect your whole family and be the one I don't know, to have to like use excessive amounts of energy and sacrifice, are you ready for all that? So if
Yeah,
not,
you said run long distance. I'm talking about, man, can most people walk 2 miles?
yeah, yeah.
Real stuff.
And that's what I'm saying. So like, go ahead and walk 2 miles. Start like that. Walk a mile, walk 2 miles, run 2 miles, 3 miles. And then all of a sudden you're good. You have air. You're ready. I'm always reminded about that scene in Apocalypto when he's just running towards his family, and I'm like, I gotta be able to do that
Hmm.
one day. If that's gotta be me. I can't. You gotta keep running. What you gonna do? You gotta get to your family or whatever. You gotta keep running,
Uh,
and you can't stop.
oh yeah. Now there's one thing I did want to address. Mama Red asked, "What about putting pure silver in stored water?" Now that is it goes back and forth. Now I will say any type of metals you can put in water, you can't over contaminate it. So figure out your ratios per water, Google it, sit back, be sure you have that, because you can take too much of anything. Even colloidal silver, people will turn jaundice if you take too much. So you have to be careful and adjust your amounts as you go, and then you can figure out from there. So create a table of contents and write everything down and have a preparation book for the things that you believe you're going to do in a stuff hits the fan situation. So you'll have the exact ratios and the things that you'll need. Sorry for kicking in on that one.
Yeah, yeah. You see that question? Um, I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that one? Any suggestions for anybody in prison? I mean, that that was that was
Anybody what?
any suggestions for those in prison?
Oh, in prison?
Yeah,
It depends. It depends on what prison system you're in and the corrections
yeah,
officers. There are going to be corrections officers who are extremely humane. They're going to hit them doors and let everybody out. There are going to be corrections officers who thinks everyone's a criminal and runs away. So it's two
yeah,
alternatives. You're going to catch people who are going to be coming out, and you're going to be catch people who are going to be stuck in, because some of those people, it's on the individual. And that's interesting you asked that question, because I have had that question asked before. And there are corrections officers who are like, "No, I'm leaving," and there are correction officers who are like, "I'm going to release who I can and give them their best shot." So it depends on the individual and what's going to happen. If you are currently in the system, most prisons have a lot of food, but there's going to be riots, etc., etc. We've kind of seen how these things go.
yeah,
So and it's going to be with anything, and I'll warn you, with anything, even on the outs, there's a system of power. There are going to be people who want to be powerful. They want to be in charge. They're going to want to ration and make sure that they can do what they want how they want. So that's where you have to kind of be careful, whether you are on the ins or you're on the outs. There's always going to be a power struggle unless there's some form of government, and even then, there's a power struggle within those. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's definitely a good question.
it's about the power struggle. I would say, I can't speak on that, and blessings to everybody that's in that situation. Hopefully, they can be protected. Most highest people be protected. And the good people, and find their way out of it, and most high protect them through it. And hopefully, and yeah, it's a tough situation, honestly. But as much as you can, you think you can prep, then do it. If it seems like you do have to have somebody, right? With you, at least somebody inside with you, at least. I don't know. I think it makes the chances
Hmm.
make the chances a little bit better to have at least more, a couple people with you, in the same mentality and for the same goals as to liberate yourself and survive. You know. Uh, but good questions, those are tough ones because those are very, it depends on the scenario and a lot of things, and the person and the individual themselves, the spirit of survival and your whole, your whole persona, who you are and why you're there and all of that. So, and, I can't really speak for anybody, honestly, in that situation.
Okay. Now I got a good question here. I got to do this one. Steph Life asks advice for city dwellers without land or space. Okay. Now that is a whole conversation in itself. I'm going to kind of condense it. And what you can do is you can get in touch with me. And like I said, it depends on your prepping situation. I can help you make a prepping plan. Now, even if you're in a big city, um, that's probably the only time I would recommend bugging out. If you're in a big city or overpopulated communities, like community area, I'd recommend finding a place on the outskirts or family you can get to. Um, you're definitely going to have to find people who are like minded and people who have a form of a prepping situation. Maybe they do prep, and also be sure to let them know what you're going to bring to the table. Now, if you go on Facebook and different places, there are a lot of different prepping boards. I know it sounds crazy. Um, there are a lot of different preppers who are on Facebook, prepping groups, survival groups. Start to talk to those people. Become a member of the community who wants to try to do things and slowly build up a small stock of goods. Because I do know preppers in New York, I know preppers in California, I know preppers in um, very packed areas, and they actually have a very good chance of succeeding because they communicate with their neighbors, they communicate with the people around them, and they try to make a good base for them to be able to survive and live actually a fairly decent life because the country is great, don't get me wrong. The city can be good too. It just depends on how cohesive you are. Because the city can be just as vicious of a concrete jungle as being out in the country. So that's another thing that you have to think about is in the city, if you know your surroundings, there's many places you could hide. In the country, the same thing. In the city, there is cohesion, and if need be, also you have better access to medications, different things like that temporarily until it all runs out. So yeah, that's my only advice to somebody who's, city dwellers, no land. Just start connecting with people, start functioning, get a co-op together where you guys go out and buy beans and rice together, or get bottled water together, things that you guys can start stocking up on. And even if you don't have space, make a closet where you can start packing your stuff, and then from there, it'll give you some time to live, enough food. You can make a good closet and put in that closet enough food to last 30, 60, 90 days. And as other people kind of fade away and run, your chances of survival become better.
Hmm.
But if you don't have those resources, your best bet is bug out and try. Then you also have to take into account, do you have kids? Do you have people who are not in such a good mental situation? Do they need emergency medical needs? Then you also have to understand at the current time now, I can't remember the exact numbers, but there's a bunch of people who have mental disorders. So once they don't get their medications, you're really going to see a lot of people with Different mental disorders coming out of the woodwork, schizophrenia, different things now that they're not medicated. So you're going to have to deal with a whole wave of those people too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry to bring that one up. That was kind of depressing.
No, those are good, all realistic scenarios that people should definitely think about. Um, just got to be honestly, you got to be tough in a lot of ways, right? Got to be tough in a lot of ways and ready in a lot of ways. But I think that
Mm,
survival kicks in for most of us when we least expect it, and the least person you expect to be the leader might pop up out of nowhere. And I think that that's gonna happen a lot. And the leader in you will show right away. If you're not a leader, if you're not, hey, you might be more vulnerable to fade away. But you gotta at least surround yourself with good people and um and be ready on your own. Like if you're prepping with somebody, like what's my value in this? What can I contribute?
hmm
You know. Felix said,
Okay.
well, hey, Felix, welcome, man. I just got to watch the whole from the beginning, you know.
Yeah, we've been, yeah.
Yeah,
Felix made it a little late,
a
but hey,
secret. It's a secret. We
there's
ain't
a lot
telling
more.
you. It's a secret.
All right, now,
No.
Ryuk X asked a good question. How do you talk to significant others or family members about the importance of prepping so they don't think you're nuts? Okay, this one's right up my alley. One, you don't. They're going to think you're nuts or they're not. It's going to be one or the other. You can only explain the importance and your beliefs. Your beliefs are ultimately going to guide you, but the biggest thing is to lead by example. Don't go and, chicken little, the sky is falling type shit, because that's not going to get you anywhere. But being able to sit down, explain the rationale, have them take a look at the world and get out of their own cognitive dissonance based off of believing that the system is always going to care for them. Once you're able to pull them out of that matrix, that the system will always be here, people will be more susceptible to be able to sit down and have those conversations about prepping. The vast majority of people who don't want to talk about prepping are only doing it because of fear. They fear that the system will collapse and they will actually need that stuff. That is one of the most damning conversations you can have with a person who is set on being in the system, who is set in just sitting there and not wanting to prep, because more and more people are prepping as time goes on. More and more people. So having that conversation is generally awkward, but you have to do it with love, compassion, and understanding. Don't get up in their face and well, we need to. No, don't do that. You have to sit down and have an honest conversation and say, these are the reasons why I think that we should prep. These are the things that may be on down the line. And also let them know when you're prepping, it's not a fact of you're prepping, you're just saying, just in case of an emergency, I believe it would be best if we had A, B, C, D, and E. And what that'll do is that'll definitely help you to come to a very peaceful means of explaining it to them rather than just going directly at them and turning it into a fearful situation. So, that I believe is the easiest way to be able to help people out and have that conversation with family and significant others. Now, you may have to warn them, and I've done it too. People may not like it, and I don't care if you do or you don't. I've been prepping for this long. If you haven't taken what I say into account, when shit hits the fan, I will give you the basic minimum and send you on your way. Only because if I've been prepping for 15 years, 20 years, I was prepping before Y2K. So it's been almost 25 years now. If I've been prepping for that long and you haven't took a hint, that's on you. That's not on me. So, I know that took a weird turn, but yeah, generally it's with compassion. But the second one is I'm going to prep anyway. It is what it is.
Yep.
Because you can't let anyone stop you from prepping just because they don't believe shit's going to hit the fan. Because I told you so is not going to feed you. I told you so is not going to give you water. I told you so is going to give you a pretty quick grave. So, stock up and keep it going. long ass answer to a short question, and I apologize.
Let me see. Storage bags for food because somebody was saying, um, like this right
Mylar
here.
bags.
He said he had after 10 years it all got expired, but I guess he didn't. He might have not used the bags. Or
Yeah, I use airtight Mylar bags. They extend the life of beans, rice, and things like that to 25 years.
okay,
Um,
these
and
ones
you
right
have to
here.
be
Right?
sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
These ones right here, Mylar storage
Hmm.
bags.
Yep.
Okay,
Sealable Mylar bags, and you want to be sure you have oxygen absorbers. So when you get those oxygen absorbers, they pull all the oxygen out, shrink the bag, and it stores a lot longer because there's nothing to allow moisture or mildew to let it rot.
cool. Yeah, so I got I knew again helped me out getting these bags and stored some rice and beans.
Hmm.
And we put them in a crate, sort of like what they're showing in this. You can put them in the crate, and again, how long should they last?
25 years. It's been shown that rice. Oh, and be sure to get white rice. Brown rice has certain oils in it that cut the shelf life down, but brown rice still can last 15 years in a Mylar bag. White rice generally lasts about 20 to 25.
Yeah.
But be sure to put the right amount of oxygen absorbers in. If the bag shrinks and you actually get to see the individual grains of rice, that means everything's been pulled out. So, without oxygen, it can't really, go bad.
Well,
Sorry,
Wanagi just
going through the
Wanagi.
Yeah, well, you got to get them, man. Get them and keep them. And just to make sure, if you seal them in a Mylar bag, go get some. Well, it doesn't even need to be food grade buckets, but I recommend it. Go grab some food grade 5-gallon buckets, then take your Mylar bags and store it in that. Because if the unfortunate instance that a mouse or something chews that bag, once it lets oxygen in, it's going right back on the it'll start rotting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony, exactly. Yep, with the Gamma Seal lids, those work out. They work out
That's
real fine.
yeah. That's what I was trying to show. That's the ones I got. I got two of those. Anu's been had a couple of those
Oh
stored.
yeah,
You
yeah.
guys
I keep it
here,
stored.
look in the image right here on the bottom.
Hmm. And I also rotate. I was gonna rotate. Millennials best. I was gonna ask about pest control. Depends on what you're looking for. If you need to, grab essential oils for the time. Um, or whatever you can get. Some people I know some people I know put their stuff in metal 55-gallon drums for prepping because most of the time they're not going to eat through that. So the metal buckets work. Also, peppermint oil, different essential oils that burn their nose and pretty much make them run away. There's a whole list of essential oils you can find, and those oils are great for repellents, especially because, and also, if the food is in a Mylar bag, the animal's less likely to smell it to get into it, and then you seal it and store it. Then you can put down something, like I said, pretty much that'll burn their senses, and just put some essential oils around there.
Yeah. So while you brought up the essential oils, it kind of reminded me of a conversation we had about this. And now, shit hit the fan scenario. You're able to survive. You got a couple people around you, good people. Everybody wants to start back. That everybody's trying to build up. You might have something that everybody needs, right? So something basic like soap, right? Talk about soap.
Yeah.
Why do you stock up on soap, Anu?
Yeah, I stock up on soap. I currently, don't laugh. I laugh every time I say it, but I currently have about between 2,000 and 3,000 bars of soap. I stock up on it because you never know when people are going to use it for a bartering tool.
Yeah, there you go.
it's a bartering tool. So what's going to happen is people are going to want people are naturally going to be able to have the amenities that they had before. So I stock up on toothpaste, soap, shaving razors, feminine products. I stock up on that stuff too because it's a bartering tool. You never
Literally,
know what somebody will
yeah,
barter for those things.
creating your own currency, your own trading thing, right? So that's awesome.
Hmm.
People don't think about that, and people don't think about those kind of essentials, right? When they think in prepping, they never think in soap. Why wouldn't okay? Why is that important? Like, well, let me tell you my opinion. You don't want to stink, right? Like, you know what happens after a couple of days, you start, you don't bathe, you don't put soap on you. Some people are more than others, you know. Some people need soap quicker than others, but eventually everybody needs soap, right? Or you might need to disinfect, clean something. You know, you got
Yep.
here for wounds, for your wounds and stuff like that. Some this is very essential stuff that most people don't think about. And when shit hits the fan, there's no stores. We guys already experienced a little bit of the craziness with the toilet paper, right?
Oh man.
Like, come
Oh, and
on.
hand sanitizer, dude. They were out here selling bags of hand sanitizer like it was drugs. They were literally bagging up hand sanitizer and selling it for $10 a watt, dog. I'm being dead serious. The ads on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace were insane. They were bagging up hand sanitizer and selling it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, yeah. I heard like a lot of chlorophene, and fruits. He's saying a lot of fruits help you not get so stinky. Like the chlorophene is literally green plants, you know, but uh, you know, they say, hey, try it out. But
yeah,
but
no, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. That does work. But that's going to be good only after your first wave of people is pretty much gone, because um, if everyone else stinks and you walk and smell like roses, don't think people are going to notice that you're smelling fresh and clean and they smell like two week old trash. So yeah,
yeah,
so it's
so
it's best it's best to barter with that stuff. You
okay, so
know.
that's what I'm saying. You want to stock up with some toilet paper, you know,
Oh yeah.
leave some for everybody a little bit, but that's a good barter tool. You got bars of soap, lotions, you know, like
Hmm.
essential oils. All that is things people. Hey, we talked about this on the private chat. Um, you know, yeah. Some people may say, "I'm gonna store some gold. I'm gonna store my money, my paper money here, in my house. I'm gonna store my
No, I'm
gold
good.
and my silver or my Bitcoin. I got my Bitcoin going. You know, hey, honestly, like guys, in my opinion, when shit hits the fan, maybe you might be able to barter the gold, maybe for somebody might want it for some reason. Who knows if anybody will want it? Because that you can't eat gold bars, you can't eat money, right? You can't eat gold bars, you can't eat money, guys. Listen to this one, right?
Hmm.
You can't eat your Bitcoin. When shit hits the fan, you won't even have. You might not even internet, right? We're talking about internet infrastructure going down. Even if you think you have your server and all that, it always they've developed it so it goes through them always, and
Yep.
and 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 that's
Well, and
gone.
realistically, what would you trade if your kid was starving and I had an apple? How
Yeah,
much gold would you give me if I had
yeah,
an apple and your kid was starving? Because I don't need your gold,
yeah,
but you need this. But you need this apple. So
yeah.
think
And
think that through.
or even as simple as we were just saying, you haven't bathed in months, and you want a bar of soap, and you got a gold bar.
Yeah.
Why should
Hey,
I
listen,
why should I give you my?
dial is my gold bar. Dial, that's my gold bar. You're going to trade you're going to trade your gold bar for my gold bar of soap.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
know.
What's the real gold? And that's a very great point. What we make it valuable. What they made us make valuable. They created this fake money, paper money, all these currencies, all this fake stuff that we give value to when it has no value. That's not real value.
Hmm.
And so what I was saying earlier, we want to go back to the way a lot of our ancestors live in a more natural way. It can't be like in this system. We have to go back to a more natural way. So, you know, I got what's real value? Like knowing how to grow food, having the
Yeah.
skill, knowing how to build houses, knowing electricity, like all that, being an engineer. Those are real skills. Those are real value. You, money ain't gonna buy you. And shit hits the fan. Money ain't gonna work for you anymore, Mr. Money Man, Mr. Moneybag.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah,
You can't pay something with a currency that doesn't mean anything. You know, you can't give me gold bars to build you a house and do a garden if at the end of the day, who am I going to trade that gold with? It's it's just a shiny metal. So
yeah. So if you know how to melt gold and you got the ingredients to make use of gold, now that's another thing. That's what I was saying.
right,
Somebody might want that gold for some reason. Like for somebody like I can't even think how I would use it other than to try to barter it again with somebody else. Like other than like get rid of it too. But I don't know. But some people may know how to melt it and all that and use as value and alchemical purposes. uh,
yeah, good luck. I'm just going to be hitting people in the head with gold plated BBs.
yeah.
Ding.
You're being an alchemist. I smell good. I got soap. I got chicken egg. I got apple
you're
trees.
yeah, you're a stinky man with gold, and I'm a clean person with food. I'm
Your
sorry.
your wealth is real. His wealth is fake.
hmm
There you go.
yeah.
And that's the kind of life society we live in, where the type of wealth that this society creates, that makes you think that's wealth, that's fake. Real wealth is something else. Just like your health, that's priceless.
Always.
Your family, your friends, a lot of this love, man. All this stuff is priceless. And survival, being alive, that breath, that's priceless. Like that life you got, that you gave, the Most High gave you. Yeah, that's priceless. And so, you know, it's up to you if you want to play the game. Literally, it's just like every other game. You gotta play the game. Prepping game.
Yep.
That's the prepping game. All right. It's just another hustle. And if you're good at it, and I mean, not more than a hustle because it's real life actually. It's life skills. Life skills and yeah, like you can develop your hustle out of it. Like, hey, I got 2,000 gold bar soaps. What do you got? I got a gold bar.
yeah.
I got this chain, with a Jesus piece. You know,
I got some rings.
I got some Jordans. I got some Jordans. You know,
Yeah, so basically it's all intrinsic value. Also, another lost skill, focus on lost skills. One of the like three of the biggest skills that are going to be needed. And hear me out. Shoe cobblers, clothing makers are going to be huge. People don't know how to make shoes anymore. People won't know how to like resole their shoes, make leather. They won't do anything. Becoming a seamstress, being able to make clothes, or being able to make something that work leather and work furs. Those are very important traits because these clothes ain't gonna last forever. Them shoes ain't gonna last forever.
yeah,
So being able to make moccasins or boots or whatever you can.
yeah, definitely. That's the skill. That's what I'm saying. That's the value. That's real value. That's real value.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna answer concepts. He said, give me your ish. Like that's the whole point. A news ready for that. Go ahead and try.
oh yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm hoping.
I
I
hope,
hope it don't come to that, but trust me, it's one of them
I
things
hope
where I'm just like,
you already know. I hope I am well.
yeah, yeah, it's one of them things. But see, I'm with the prepper community. Now that's a good thing. That is one good thing that I have done. I'm with the prepper community, so it's not just me, myself, and I. Um, yeah, there's a lot of us. Yeah, there are a lot of us, and we're preppers. We all have
Most
different
preppers.
points of perspectives. I deal with people who find someone in the local area who's a nurse. Find someone in the local area who's a doctor, someone who knows emergency medical needs, someone who knows how to do a lot of that stuff. So it's always good to outsource, branch out, and start figuring out who is beneficial to you. Because not just being able to build and sew, but who can do stitches and staples, who knows how to look, who knows how, like what proper herbs. Stock up on books. You can go on Amazon right now, and you can go to used bookstores. You can get all kind of prepper books, herb books, fruit books, gardening books. Don't just rely on the internet. Get that stuff in hard copy because if the internet goes down tomorrow, it ain't gonna do you no good, especially if you have a PDF. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just think that most it may seem like maybe the preppers are like big targets because they're storing all this stuff and all that, but most preppers are not pushovers. So you're trying your luck, honestly, with most
Hmm.
preppers. And
And most of us ain't gonna let you know we got it though.
yeah,
Realistically,
yeah,
you
honestly,
know,
you know,
I talk about prepping. I got my stuff, but outside of the people who are in my who are basically who I prep with, I don't make a count of telling people, hey, I got a
yeah,
bunch of beans and rice in my house, or hey, you need some soap? I got 3,000 bars sitting in, So I
yeah,
don't tell people where it's at, and you don't always want to keep it at your house, especially if you have the availability for a bug out location.
yeah. And just also, hope anybody listening that may think that, oh, when shit hit the fan, I'm gonna just go rob everybody. Hey, eventually you might get away with it a little bit, but that's what I'm saying. That type of society, that's not. There's some real people out now. Like we're coming back. Like with some real priest kings. Some real good, some dracons really out there. Like really gonna make sure that doesn't happen. And eventually, why would you go try to eliminate everybody and just take over everybody and think about it, man. You might need that person eventually. He might have a skill that you don't have. Again, what's your value with his value? And a change of heart, a change of mentality, a change of way, a change of you know whatever your situation. Just like it don't have to be that way. It don't have to be that way. Hopefully, I help somebody. Avoid being like that. And yeah, I don't know anything else. You got to say. I'm about to probably wrap it up here. I think that was a good little session. Make sure to
Oh yeah,
like for a new like make sure to follow a news channel. I got the link pinned in the chat. All right, and here is the channel as well. A new breed of prepper. All right, and so a lot of good prepping stuff there. He's gonna be uploading some more stuff and some indigenous folklore and even some other stuff there. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Anything you want to say, Anu? Like,
yeah. Like I said, you can get at me, and we can set up a Zoom. We can sit down, and I can help you out with your prepping questions, needs, programs. I can make it that it's catered to you, and this is free of charge. I'm only doing it to help people so they can get ready. So you can get in touch with me via my page or my email address, which I'll actually drop that in the chat. Actually, could you do it for me? The Catawba bread one.
yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, you can get in touch with me via my chat. We'll set something up. We'll sit down. We'll go ahead and knock out a session, and we'll get something planned out because I'm here to help you have the best chance of survival. And that's just how I see things. So,
So
um,
let me put it
wow,
around.
make me better. Make me better had a good question before we cut out. I just got to answer this one. Make me better had asked if you have an elderly parent who lives in the city who refuses to move in with you, what should you do? Um, this is a very controversial question and a very unfortunate question. I'll answer it the best way I know how. You can't force them to do anything. So, therefore, in some instances, people have already independently and individually made their choices on where they're going to be or where they want to rest or reside. Once again, you can sit down and explain the importance and what you believe is going to happen, but be willing to have a conversation and understand their point. Because if their point is um, they don't want to go, they know what's going to happen, they know things are going to, go down, and they have made their peace, then don't pursue it any more than you have to, unfortunately. But if you are in the situation where you believe you can talk to them a little more, help them to go with you, and kind of prevent a bad situation, go for it. But honestly, in any prepping situation, it's going to be understanding. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So, my bad. I just had to answer that before we go.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Anybody? I put his email on the chat. If anybody's interested in contacting him, I could also contact him. I believe on Telegram.
Yeah,
You
you
can
can contact me on Telegram.
find him on. Yeah, if you find a way to find him, that's why I tell everybody. If you find a way to find me on Telegram, then you probably be able to talk to me a little bit. Depends. But hope everybody enjoyed. This live. I think it's very important with these times we're living in. A lot of people like, oh, 2024 is gonna be a crazy year. It's gonna be a crazy year. Well, yeah, it's gonna
Yeah,
be
it's starting off crazy.
gonna be a crazy year. Yeah, it's already started out, right? January. All right, and yeah, well, it doesn't hurt to be prepared. That's the name of that's the title of the video. It doesn't hurt to be prepared. We're just saying. you know, and it's up to you. Just know that some of us are, we will be, we will try and be. All right. Um, hey, thanks for joining us anew. Thanks for being here. All right.
Oh no, thanks for having me on, man. It's greatly appreciated anytime I can step up here with you and
Yeah.
chop it up and have a great time.
Cool, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out our news channel, and we'll be back with many videos. I got a good genealogy coming in a couple days. Oh yeah, we got a great genealogy coming. Two big celebrities, guys. Some amazing stuff I found in the genealogy. All right, proving all the research. Hope you guys enjoy those two that are coming. Thanks for being here. Much love and respect. Pura vida, mi gente. Wow. We're gonna go out with Netflix. We're gonna go out with Netflix, all right?
I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. Sometimes I feel like all is lost, but I know it's not true. I wanna put up all my walls cause I'm not in the mood, but then I cut myself off from the rest of the room. I know that time can heal it all if you're patient and soon. It can all be worth it, all the searching. Pain is never really permanent, but damn it hurts, man. I could feel all of the turbulence and it's concerning. I've been searching for a purpose, I hope it's worth it. This society is really trying me. Ain't no hide and seek, I hide to be far from anxiety. I need my space, I need my privacy. I need some silence, please, you're all too loud. You don't speak quietly, opinions violently thrown across every surface. It makes me nervous, is the world honestly burning? That's all I'm learning. Hope that we can make a turn and start reversing all our minds and put the work in. We got some work, man. I started to grow. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through. Gotta get through this, life is a nuisance, tie up some loose ends. I try to be human, find a solution, my evolution. A place like this, it didn't exist, we made it like this. So you can go pick the bad or the good, got a glass halfway. I know, it's easier to hide than just to lay low. Not everyone in life has got a halo. I'm standing in the red inside a payphone. Just wanna break, no, I'm not gonna give in. Take a last shot, Michael J. Win. No, I'm not a robot, I'm in my own skin. Never get lost when thoughts pull you in. I miss the old you, we died with a purpose. All the energy around me felt nervous, scared I would pop off fast to the surface. Had to cut it off before you made me worthless. Torn apart, I've been torn and scarred. I had a given art, but now I'm thinking smart. I'm keeping up my guard, I'm hiding every card. A royal flush of left, you never know what's hard. With a back to the mat, gonna see where I'm at. I'ma fight like I'm mad, I'm a beast of the net. They can never be me, nice try, but they'll see I achieve everything while they stay salty. I started to grow. I can hear the demons call when they do what they do. And now now I feel like taking off, find a place with a view. The pain is never gonna stop if it's controlling you. I know that time can heal it all, I just gotta get through. I just gotta get through, I just gotta get through. Cause I feel like taking off, find a place with a view.